Okay, so today we're going to be looking at decoding two-syllable words that have closed and open syllables. Before we start, let's take a look at some of these sentences. Some of you may be looking at these sentences and saying, wow, these look pretty hard to read. And they're not as hard as you think they are if you know some patterns to look for. And that's really what we're going to be doing today is looking at these words and seeing if we can figure out what are the patterns that each of these words has that can help us read them a lot easier. It's just like playing basketball or learning how to play a musical instrument. Before you actually play the game or play the instrument, you have to learn the basics. And the basics for basketball would be learning how to shoot the ball, learning how to dribble the ball, learning how to pass the ball to a teammate. And those are all the basics that you have to practice every day, even when you don't feel like it. And it goes with reading too. Reading, you have to do the basics, and you have to do them well. You have to do them every day, even when you don't feel like them. So in order to do that, we kind of have to learn how to read each word one at a time, and we're going to learn how to code them. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be coding every single word that you read in a book. No, that wouldn't make sense. It would take forever. What we want to do is get practice a little bit every day and just learning how to figure out how to break apart a word into its syllables so that we can read them easily. So let's take a look at some of these words and see how we can do this. Let's take a look at the word, this word spelled H-U-M-I. Make that dot. D. That word is right here in the first sentence. Now, how do we look at this word? Well, first we're going to be identifying the first two vowels, and we see that we have the first vowel is U, so we'll code it with a V, and the second vowel that comes after that is an I, so we'll code that with a V, and we're going to bridge those two vowels and take a look what's in the middle. Well, what's in the middle here? There's an M. Now, is that a vowel or a consonant? Well, we know that the M is a consonant, so we'll label it with a C. And this should be a familiar pattern that we know right now. It's vowel, consonant, vowel. And the rule is that whenever you have a vowel, consonant, vowel pattern, what we want to try to do is we want to always try to break it up before the consonant and try to read the word. And if it makes sense and sounds right, we've got it right. But if not, then we can try to break it up after the consonant and see if that works. And then usually it'll work before the vowel, but sometimes you have to try both in order to figure it out. So let's try the rule, and let's try to break this word up between the first vowel and the first consonant. So let's take a look at that first syllable. Well, the U is not closed in by any consonant, so we know that's going to be an open syllable, so we'll label it open. And let's take a look at the second syllable. Okay, the D closes in the I. We know that's a closed syllable, which is going to give us a short vowel sound. So we now have the first syllable being open. That means it's going to have that long vowel sound. And the second syllable is closed, which the I will have the short syllable. So let's read each syllable. Hue, mid, humid, humid. Oh, okay. The word is humid. It means like really hot and sticky outside. So right there, we've learned how to read this word, humid. Let's take another word from that same sentence. And we can take a look at the first word right here. Okay, let's write it. Capital O-T-I-S. All right, let's see what we have here first. First two vowels. O, vowel. And the next one is an I. Label that. And in between those vowels, after we bridge them, will be a T, which is a consonant. All right. So what do we have here? We have a vowel consonant vowel pattern, and our rule is try to break it up before the consonant, which we'll do and see if that makes sense. All right. So the O is on by itself here, so we know that that's going to be open. We'll label it with an O. And the second syllable is the S closes in the I, so we know that's going to be a closed syllable. We'll label it CL for closed. And now we can just read each syllable. O, tis, Otis, Otis. Oh, it's the name of somebody. So now we can read this word. And so that's just a quick video of how we can actually read some words. And now if we read this first sentence, we can read it as Otis will not picnic if it is humid. And you can do that with any of these sentences. So now it's time for you to practice some of these words. When you go to the decoding center, practice them. Code the individual words, and on the back you'll see sentences just like these. And that's where you don't want to code them. You want to just read them and try to code them in your head. So code the individual words on the first side, and then flip it over, and when you see these sentences, try coding them in your head as you're reading them.